NFL free agency has begun. Well, not really free agency, but tampering. Legal tampering has begun. Not the Dolphins, Tom Brady tampering. NFL 2024 season. Welcome, guys. Hold my helmet. Will Reichling here with this little solo episode. We had Kirk Cousins going to the Falcons. Bucks re-signing Baker. Russ signing with the Steelers. Saquon going to the Eagles. I know that's a soul-crushing defeat for the Giants fans, so we'll get into that one. Mac Jones getting traded to the Jags. T. Higgins requesting a trade after getting tagged. Josh Jacobs going to the Packers, releasing Aaron Jones. Lots of stuff to get into here. So hold my helmet, like, subscribe, share, keep supporting me. You know, all offseason I'm going to be coming out with content. I think the hardest thing to do in the offseason is really to build up stories, but during free agency, it's very easy. I mean, there's players going everywhere. There's all these hypothetical trades going on. Who's this team going to draft? The draft on top of that. So lots of things going on here. Stay buckled. We'll get into them now. Let's go. So I want to start with Kirk Cousins going to the Atlanta Falcons. 4 years, $180 million, $100 million fully guaranteed. Look, he was on his way to one of the best seasons of his career last season. 18 touchdown passes in 8 games. He was on pace for about 38 touchdown passes. He had a 103 passer rating. He stepped up in the big moment. You saw in that Niners game, Kirk Cousins was at his best last season. People are worried about the injury, coming off the injury. He's getting older, but remember, he wasn't really mobile to begin with. So, I mean, what are we really talking about here? He's still going to make smart decisions in the pocket. He's still going to be accurate. He's still going to make timely throws. He's a very smart guy, and that's why he's made it this far in the league. And this is a guy. He won one playoff game? I'm pretty sure he's won one playoff game, and he's now amounted to pretty massive contracts. I think the first one was 3 years, $84 million, all fully guaranteed to go to the Vikings. Now this one, he's got $100 million guaranteed to go to the Falcons. And, you know, this goes hand in hand because they're both NFC South teams, so I just want to get into this right now. The Bucks re-signing Baker Mayfield, 3 years, $100 million, $50 million fully guaranteed, so he only gets half the guaranteed money that Kirk Cousins gets. He definitely deserved to be re-signed, in my opinion. Daniel Jones went for $40 million, so why can't Baker go for $33? You know, so definitely makes sense. It's a great spot for Baker. He's a great fit in Tampa, so it goes hand in hand. They re-signed Mike Evans. They tagged Antoine Winfield. So after the Baker signing, I was like, okay, the Bucks are primed to win their division again. I think their expectations should be to win the division. But then Kirk Cousins got signed by the Atlanta Falcons. I was going into the day after Baker got re-signed saying, okay, Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in the NFC South. That is no longer the case. Kirk Cousins is better than Baker Mayfield. I would take Kirk Cousins over Baker Mayfield. I know there's concerns with the injuries right now, but like I said, he wasn't really mobile to begin with. I'll take Cousins' best seasons over Baker's best seasons. Kirk Cousins balls out. Now, we could say what we want about him not being successful in primetime. We could talk all we want about him not being successful in the playoffs, not being successful against good teams, not being successful in the moment matters the most. But put Kirk Cousins' numbers and Baker Mayfield's numbers up next to each other. It's almost night and day. I mean, Kirk Cousins has been a consistent 30 touchdown pass or 100 passer rating per year guy. So Kirk Cousins is definitely, in my opinion, a top 12 quarterback, especially with the way he played last season. I don't really see a drop off because he wasn't mobile to begin with. We're not talking about Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, where as they get older, you see the slowness and the mobility decline, deteriorate. It's not the same situation here. Kirk Cousins was never a runner. He never was a runner. He'll never be a runner. He is a guy that sits in the pocket, makes smart throws down the field and timely throws and plays within the system. Not saying he's a system quarterback, but we gotta remember Baker had some rough games last season. I mean, I know we look at the overall numbers at the end and they look good. It's kind of like the Russell Wilson effect. I do think Baker was a better quarterback than Russell Wilson last season, but if you watch some of the games, he really struggled at points. He did struggle. He had some clunkers. He did. So he had a good season, but let's reel it back a little bit. Now I really think Atlanta's going to win this division, and, you know, it just feels like, you know, when you get really high on a player having a comeback, it just feels like he's going to regress here. You know, they got some film on him in Tampa now. They know his tendencies now. Especially they don't develop that running game, because I like Rachaad White, but, you know, again, one of the bottom feeders in the league. I think they were last in the league in yards per carry last year out of the running back position. So if they don't add a running game or develop some kind of consistent running game, it's going to be a regression for Baker, because teams are going to see them pass. And I know they have a good defense. They bring back Antoine Winfield, so that shores that up a little bit. But Baker is not a quarterback that's going to go out there and be able to throw 50 times and you're going to win. I mean, he's done it before, yes. I mean, he's had, 50-plus starts in the league. But That's not a formula for success. I know they actually came a game within making the NFC Championship game, so the Bucs were right there. But I feel like the Falcons and the Bucs are kind of flip-flop this season. I think the Bucs are going to probably struggle a little bit. I think the Falcons are going to be very interesting with Kirk Cousins. I think Kyle Pitts will finally get the usage that he deserves. I think Bijan Robinson is going to be used effectively. Drake London's already proven to be a legitimate receiver. So those like accumulation of weapons. But Kirk Cousins is accurate and he distributes the ball. Justin Jefferson, say all you want about him not having an elite quarterback. His best seasons, I mean, his only seasons have been with Kirk Cousins, but he's been balling out with Kirk Cousins. So, I mean, Kirk Cousins has proven to be a top 12 quarterback in the league. I think he's not going to regress really next season because, like I said, he was never mobile to begin with. All he has to do is do what he's been doing in his career, stay at that level, and Atlanta's going to win the division. So, I see a slight decline from the Bucs this year. I see a slight improvement from the Falcons this year. I think Kirk Cousins is going to bring leadership to that locker room. I think he's been there, done that mindset. I'm pretty sure that his wife's from Atlanta, so now his wife gets to go home. They might feel a little more comfortable there, a little more acclimated, and I think Kirk Cousins is I think he's going to ball up this season. 30 touchdowns from Kirk Cousins. So let's move on to Russell Wilson signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers at the league minimum. So this works out best for both teams. Russell Wilson gets to kind of resurrect his career a little bit with a good roster. This is a good roster. Let's make no mistakes. That defense is going to keep them in every single game, just like they did last season. All they have to do is stay within games, hold a lead, run the ball effectively, play action, high percentage throws, get the ball out quick, get it to your talented receivers and tight end. They got Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth. You got some weapons, and Warren out of the backfield can run. So they got weapons everywhere. The question is going to be, can Russell Wilson just play slightly above average, exactly like he did last season? If he does exactly what he did last season, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be just fine. I think they'll be a playoff team. They can even win a playoff game. I know the division's tough, but if they made the playoffs last season with Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Trubisky started a couple of games, god awful that guy is. But if they could do that, Russell Wilson's better than all those guys combined. So let's be honest. I know he is not what he used to be, but Russell Wilson is better than Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett has 13 touchdown passes in 2 seasons in his career. I think it's the lowest touchdown pass rate out of any quarterback in NFL history. So that's really, I liked him going into last season, but he really was disappointing last season. I know Matt Canada didn't help. I know the offensive line didn't help, but Russ has, I know Pickett's slightly mobile, but Russ lost some weight last season, and he's going to be mobile as well because you saw it last season. He was able to buy some time and make some magic like he did in the past. Not like he used to in Seattle, but he had some magic there. He had some nice touchdown throws to Sutton, rolling out left, rolling out right. Some magic was there. All you need is 1-2 big throws a game, and he can get it done. Russell Wilson's stats when leading in 2023, last season. 67 completion percentage, 67.6 actually. 9 touchdowns, 0 picks, 107 passer rating. So he did not throw an interception last year with the lead. So all he has to do is play like that with the lead. And Pittsburgh's going to have the lead a lot this season. So look, great defense. Najee finally found some rhythm running the ball. TJ Warren's come on. So they're going to have some leads. All they got to do is hold on to it. And Russell Wilson was great with leads last season. He didn't have many of them, but when he did, he was really well. He played really well. So all he has to do is play exactly like he did last season. The 14th, 15th best quarterback in the league, and they should be just fine. They really should be fine. So I know it's tough because Burrow's coming back, and in my opinion, Burrow is the second best quarterback in the NFL when healthy. Lamar Jackson's just won MVP, so you're probably going to be the third best team in that division. And now, Cleveland just trading for Jerry Jeudy. We'll get into that maybe in a little bit, but it's going to be that's the best division in football. But you bring in Russell Wilson, you kind of solidify that you're going to be viable for a playoff spot. So Russell Wilson just has to do exactly what he did last season. What was it? 26 touchdowns, 8 picks, and 98 passer rating. Those numbers are perfect for this system. You got Mike Tomlin, who's the leader. He's going to rally the troops no matter what. They're going to win a minimum 8-9 games. So if you could add value for another win or two, Pittsburgh it's going to be slightly a problem. They're not going to be one of the top teams in the AFC, but they're going to be a problem for the top teams for sure. They're going to be feisty. So Russell Wilson, all he's got to do is play like he did last season. He doesn't have to play hero ball. He doesn't have to be the savior like the Broncos kind of. There's not really much pressure here. There's some pressure because you're kind of like, this is your last shot for your career, but there's no pressure because you're playing for a league minimum. You're on a stacked roster. You just need to play average because they've had such bad quarterback play since Big Ben's retired. Even at the end of Big Ben's career, he was pretty bad. So all you have to do is play better than that, and they're going to revere you there. So it's not, the bar's very low there. It's funny because last week, I'm pretty sure it was the GM for the Steelers that said, we're riding with Kenny. We believe in Kenny. And I said on the show last week on the podcast that he's lying. I don't believe that. I don't believe that because no one could watch Kenny Pickett play last season and logically believe that you could believe in the guy. And it sucks to say that about a player because, he's got a heart. I've seen him. He's got some toughness, man. I saw him go after a D lineman one time, and I like to see that out of a quarterback sometimes. Josh Allen, where they play like a football player. They don't play like a quarterback. They play like a football player. I like that. So I respect Kenny Pickett. And he made his rookie season, he made some daring throws where I was like, wow, this guy's got some guts. So I respected that from him. And he made some big plays last season, but not enough production for Kenny Pickett. So he's going to sit behind Russ. Let's be honest. He's going to be the backup. Russ is going to be the starter. So it's really going to become for Kenny. Can you learn behind this guy? Learn how to make high percentage throws. Learn how to move out of the pocket and make some out of rhythm throws. He can learn some stuff from Russ here because he's got some mobility. He's a little bit underrated when it comes to moving a little bit. I think he's a better mover than people think, Kenny Pickett. So if Kenny Pickett can kind of just learn some stuff here, I think if he can learn some of that wow from Russell Wilson, just even a little bit, he could be a little more effective. But it's not looking good for him right now. But he's going to be the backup. Let's be honest. Unless Russ gets hurt or he completely stinks up the preseason and training camp, Russell Wilson is going to be starting quarterback for the Steelers. And I think Steeler fans understand this. Steeler fans aren't stupid. They're not Cowboy fans. No offense. I'm not saying Cowboy fans are stupid. But, they're not Eagle fans. They're not oblivious. They're not Niner fans. They understand that, Kenny Pickett's not good enough. But they do, a lot of the blame was put on Matt Canada. Rightfully so. The guy was bad. It was awful. No creativity at all. And you saw the improvement once he left. But we all know that Kenny Pickett, like I said, when there's questions about a guy going into year 3, you probably don't have your guy. I said this about Justin Fields, and Justin Fields is a lot better than Kenny Pickett. So, it's rightfully so. You got to say the same about Kenny Pickett. So, New York Giants fans, I feel for you because it's almost similar to Darrelle Revis when he went to the Patriots. I know he was traded to the Bucs first, but as far as Saquon Barkley going to the enemy, the nemesis, I think Giants Cowboys and Giants Eagles are probably the two biggest rivalries in football in the history of the NFL. You got Packers Bears up there. You got some other rivalries up there, but Giants Eagles is one of the all-time great rivalries. And you got Saquon Barkley jumping ship from the Giants to Eagles pretty much. It hurts. I know it hurts. My dad's a Giants fan. My little brother's a Giants fan. Some of my best friends are Giants fans. It hurts. Saquon Barkley was their favorite player as far as New York Giants. And 3 years, $37.75 million. $26 million fully guaranteed to go to the Eagles. This wasn't a crazy contract. It was big for a running back, but it was nothing crazy. The problem here was Daniel Jones' cap hit was so massive. Pretty sure it was well over $40 million. I think it might have even been $50 million. His cap hit was so massive that they couldn't even afford to bring Barkley back. They couldn't even think about it. So it kind of sucks here because you have a homegrown talent. You have a guy that's produced. You have a guy that's electric, one of the most electric players in the league. Whether you think he could run in between the tackles or not, he's electric. He's a home run hitter. And, you couldn't even keep him. It kind of stinks because he's the heart and soul of your team. When you think of Giants, you think of Saquon Barkley. He was the face of the Giants. You don't think of the Giants and think of Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau. Those are great players, don't get me wrong. You think of Saquon Barkley. He was the Giants. So it kind of sucks. It really does because, like I said, I felt that with Revis when he left the Jets. I felt that in many different scenarios. I felt that with Jamal Adams. I know he was, didn't even want to stay, didn't like Gase or anything, and we got a haul for him. The Jets got a haul for him. The Jets got multiple first, multiple second round picks, and then Jamal Adams ended up being injury prone guy who couldn't even cover and could only blitz. But at the end of the day, it was like a homegrown star, and we're giving them away. So initially, I was very upset. It's like the Jets tend to do that. They grow these guys, and then they leave in free agency. Giants don't do that. Giants usually keep their players. Other than Odell, a lot of their players stay. They want to be Giants. They want to win Super Bowls because the Giants were that organization. The last 10 years, other than that 2016 little stint with Odell and the whole boat trip and everything, they have not been good in the New York Giants. It hasn't been the same. But I think Joe Shane's going in the right direction. Why? Breaking news about an hour ago, they just traded for Brian Burns. I think it was a second or fifth they got. You got an impatient owner in David Tepper. They got to add pieces for Bryce Young. They got to get picks because they're panicking. They're panicking because they realize that Bryce Young isn't as good as CJ Stroud, and you got to salvage as much as you can. I think Bryce Young is very talented, and I think he can rebound. But, it's not looking good right now. So what are you trying to do for Carolina? You're trying to stack picks, get offensive talent to make your quarterback look good. So you got to give away your star defender, and they really should have done that in that trade to Chicago. Why would you give away DJ Moore? I don't know. Because now you just gave away Brian Burns anyway. If it was the other way around, you gave away Brian Burns to the Chicago Bears, DJ Moore would still be here. You would not be trading DJ Moore when you have a young quarterback in Bryce Young. And hey, maybe Bryce Young wouldn't have been as bad last season. That's a conversation for another day. But Giants get Brian Burns, so they're making moves. I think Joe Shane's doing a pretty decent job there, other than the Daniel Jones signing. But I feel like that was more the owner. But less about the Giants, more about the Eagles. The Eagles get Saquon Barkley. He he's the true definition of a home run hitter. It's all or nothing with him. It's literally all or nothing. And last year, he had 3.9 yards per carry. So you don't think you're getting a workhorse here, Philly fans. You're getting a guy that can run in between the tackles. Don't get me wrong. He's gotten better at running in between the tackles, but he's not a 25 carry a game guy. He's more of a 10, 15 carry a game guy, 5 catches out of the backfield, but he's explosive. He could always break a touchdown for you. He could break one at any moment, and for that alone, he adds a whole nother dimension to the game and to the passing game, because he could break a screen for 70 yards too for a touchdown. But, Saquon Barkley in his career, if you look at all of Saquon Barkley's games on the Giants, for instance, let's say one game, you look at his stats, his breakdown: 2 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards, -1 yards, 2 yards, 1 yard, 60 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards. If you take out all his big gains, he probably averages 2-3 yards a carry. He's all or nothing. He either gets 2 yards, 1 yard, negative gain, or he breaks a 67-yard touchdown. Now, he's gotten better at that. He's gotten a little more consistent at running in between the tackles, but he's a home run hitter. He's going to add value. He's going to add pop. He's going to add value. He's going to add flash, finesse. He's going to be effective in your passing game too. And with this new offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, that's an upgrade. So he's going to be doing a lot with Saquon. He did a lot with Pollard in Philly. He's going to be doing a lot here. I mean, Saquon Barkley might be lined up in slot, wide out. He can even line up a tight end. This guy could do it all. And I can see Kellen Moore breaking out the books for him. So there's not really much excuses for Jalen Hurts anymore. I mean, he upgrades the offensive coordinator. The defense is going to upgrade because they just upgraded defensive coordinator. DeAndre Swift was basically like a poor man's Saquon Barkley. So you're upgrading at that, and you're getting probably the most elite, other than McCaffrey, the most elite pass-catching running back in the game. I mean, I think it's fair to say he's top 3. I might be missing someone, but he's up there for sure. You got to think about Jalen Hurts. He struggled last year, don't get me wrong. But it's weird. It was a very weird year for Jalen Hurts because somehow he was better trailing than when he had the lead. When he had the lead, 62 completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 11 picks, 70 passer rating. When he was trailing, 65 completion percentage, 10 touchdowns, 3 picks, 100 passer rating. Very weird. Usually a quarterback does better when he has the lead than trailing. I think this is because of play calling. If you remember that New York Jets game where the Jets got that first loss for Philadelphia, the Jets kind of won late. Jalen Hurts, they were passing. They had the lead and they were passing late in the game. Got an interception. Jets get the interception down inside the 10, score a touchdown, take the lead. A lot of stupid play calling there, so I don't blame that all on Jalen Hurts. But a big portion of that was the decline in the running game for Jalen Hurts. He went from 4.6 yards per carry to 3.9. Maybe a lot of that's because of the tush push, a lot of 1-2 yard gains. But still, the decline in Jalen Hurts' running ability kind of led to him, struggling in the passing game when they had the lead because he couldn't run as much. He wasn't as dangerous when running the ball, so that led to him being less dangerous passing the ball. And when do you run? When you have the lead, usually, or when the game's close. So he could sling it. He's got a great deep ball. I think they're going to be very creative. I think Kellen Moore's going to be very creative for him. I think he's going to bounce back this season, no doubt. I think Jalen Hurts has what it takes to see adversity and kind of look at it in the teeth and fight through the adversity. I think he's got the talent to be special in this league. I think we've seen that he's been special in this league. I think that Super Bowl he was special. When you play like that on the biggest stage, we know he has it in him. We know he has it in him. Was he hurt last season? That's why he ran less? I don't know. It's not like he ran less. It was about maybe less than 10 less carries, but he had over 150 less yards. So, I mean, maybe he wasn't as physical as he was the year before because he was taking a lot more hits, but it kind of led to him struggling in the passing game when they had the lead. And they kind of passed too much when they had the lead. Especially in that Jets game. They were passing, they had the lead, they could have just ran the ball and won the game. They're throwing the ball, throw a pick, Jets score a touchdown, win the game. So, a lot of bad play calling, but Kellen Moore's coming in now. He does get a little too cute, so watch out for that. He got a little too cute in Los Angeles. He got a little too cute in Dallas. Let's hope he doesn't do the same here, but Jalen Hurts should bounce back this season. With Barkley, don't think Barkley is going to be a workhorse, though, because that was never what Barkley was. Mac Jones traded to the Jaguars for a 6th-round pick. Look, I'm not going to spend much time on this. He's awful. I mean, he had a promising rookie season, but again, he was masked by a good defense, great head coach. They had a good running game that season. There was that whole Joe Judge, Matt Patricia debacle 2 years ago, and he was awful. Don't get me wrong. But that other Bill O'Brien last season, the guy had a 3.5 interception percentage last season. 3.5. That was 3rd in the league, behind Joe Flacco, who threw a ton of picks, but also threw a ton of touchdowns, and his counterpart, Bailey Zappi. So 3.5% interception percentage. He's a walking turnover. You bring in Bill O'Brien, who's definitely an improvement over Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, and the guy could not stop throwing it to the other team. He was terrible. I don't want to hear any. I was defending him going into last season, saying, he's average at best, but putting two defensive coordinators and a defensive coordinator and a special teams coach as your two offensive coordinators, it's like, what are you doing? You're setting the guy up for failure. So I thought there was going to be a big bounce back last season with Bill O'Brien, and he was even worse. He's gotten worse every single season. He looked awful last year. I remember one pick. I forgot who they were playing, but they were in the red zone, and he just threw a duck where he just lofted it to the other team. It was just I don't know what he was thinking, if he was trying to throw it. He just doesn't have the talent to be good enough in this league. And when you're turning the ball over at the rate that he does, it's alarming. He's probably, and I know a lot of the Patriot fans probably feel bad for him and everything, and would like to defend him and stuff. But he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. He'll be a great backup. He can complete the ball quickly, get the ball out of his hands quick. He's smart. He'll be a great backup, but he's not a starter. And Trevor Lawrence shouldn't be worried because he's light years ahead of Mac Jones as far as talent. And that 2021 draft is really shaping up to be a shit show other than Trevor Lawrence, who's also actually turning out to be a shit show a little bit. So that draft is, no one's really hidden that draft. So Josh Jacobs to the Packers, 4 years, $48 million. And at first I'm like, what about Aaron Jones? And I find out very shortly after they release Aaron Jones. And, I'm like, that's weird. I understand. Jacobs is 26, Aaron Jones is 29. They rather take the younger guy over the older guy. But Aaron Jones, when he's healthy, is really electric, So I was struggling with it a little bit. I'm like, Aaron Jones, man, when he plays, he's a game changer. But so is Josh Jacobs. If Josh Jacobs could get right from last season and play like the year before, and even 80% of 2 years ago, where he was the best running back in the league, this Green Bay offense is already dangerous and young and quick. They just got even quicker. And Matt LaFleur, what does he love to do most? He loves to run the ball. And what does Josh Jacobs do? He runs the ball. 2 years ago, under Josh McDaniels, had over 300 carries, was a workhorse. He will be a workhorse in Green Bay. Don't get it twisted. Mike LaFleur loves to run the football. And Aaron Rodgers used to argue with him all the time because he used to run. And Aaron likes to do his own thing, but Matt LaFleur likes to be patient and run the football. He's a Kyle Shanahan disciple, and Kyle loves to run the ball. Matt loves to run the ball. So this is a great fit. And I said it at the end of the regular season after the Niner game. I'll say it now. I think the Packers are going to win the NFC North. I think they're going to be a Super Bowl contender. I think they might be a top 3 team in the NFC. I think Jordan Love might be a top 10 quarterback already. So, I know I'm making a lot of claims here. Making a lot of claims, but it's their time now. Jordan Love sat for long. You're going to have to pay him eventually. You might not pay him now, but you're going to pay him eventually. So, use this rookie talent on this team. You got them all on rookie contracts. Use it while you can. So the Packers are dangerous, man. And I don't know where Aaron Jones is going to go, but I know that they just got younger. They just got... It's almost like a lateral move, but you're going younger. Because Josh Jacobs does everything Aaron Jones could do, but he's younger and he's a little more reliable because although Josh Jacobs has some durability concerns, Aaron Jones has been way more hurt the last couple of seasons than Josh Jacobs, and he's older. So this makes perfect sense. It's 100% the right decision. I know I felt I was against it at first, but that's because Aaron Jones has been such an important piece to that Packer franchise, and when he plays, he was the best player on the offense. But now you have multiple young, twitchy wide receivers, and now you have Josh Jacobs with that. The Packers are going to win the division. That's just my opinion.